Hello again, NWI. Welcome to Bluer by the Lake, the podcast that explores region life through a blue lens. I'm your host, Tracy Martin, and joining me in just a minute is Lake County Dem Chair Mike Repay. But before Mike and I dive into how easy and important it is to run for office, I want to take a moment to thank you all for being here. I launched this podcast because I knew that there were 1,000 blue stories to tell in NWI, and from the requests I've gotten to cover things, I can see you all agree. So thank you. So, though, here's the ask that you knew was coming, right? As of today, I have one donor, the most principled human being I know, and the reason I'm sitting here today, my dad. Hi, Dad. But I have a lot of stories to tell. I have an inbox full of requests, and 3 important stories in development just in these next 2 weeks. I want to do a series on NIPSCO and NWI data centers, a tutorial on voter registration, profiles on some exciting Dem successes like Valpo's mayoral override. Well done, guys. And like I said, that's just for these next 2 weeks. There's things I can't even get to yet because this is Bluer by the Lake. I'm it, folks. I do the recording, the editing, research, logistics, guest sourcing, sound design, social media, and on. It's a flabbergasting amount of work that I want to keep doing because our region needs a blue voice. But I also have to pay for everything myself too. So I really love some better equipment so I can do things like a live event coverage or just get better recording equipment so that we can no longer have to hear those freaking cicadas that are behind my window and driving me crazy. So let me say this right off. As I promised, I am not now, and I never will, make any show episode for subscribers only. But to thank the people who I'm hoping will hear this plea and become a monthly or annual paid subscriber, I'm starting a really fun section of bloopers and outtakes. So stick around to the end of this episode for a sample, and because you know your life won't be complete without a hilarious video of 2 middle-aged Democrats trying to get their cameras aligned. All right. All of this is a long way of saying I'm here for you, NWI. I'm here to do this work. If it's of value to you and you have a spare $5 each month, please consider becoming my 2nd paid subscriber, then my 3rd, 4th. You get the drift. There's a link to subscribe on the podcast page, or if you got this via a Substack email on there. But if you're already a subscriber and you're not seeing that link right there, just navigate to your subscription settings and you can just click the link to upgrade. It's really easy. It's quick. And it will go a long way to helping me cover even more and more stories as the political life in these United States continues to get dicier and dicier. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to talk about. So anyway, back to the studio, folks. Let's talk about why you need to run, Lake County. Run for office. Mike, tell me a little bit about what positions are going to be on the 2026 ballot.
Okay.
Are there a lot of open places? Is this an important election?
For sure, it's an important election. I mean, like we talked about, how we're not some of those races throughout the state of Indiana have not been properly challenged with a Democratic candidate. We here in Lake County need to challenge the Republicans with a proper Democratic candidate and a proper campaign and a fully organized campaign that uses the abilities of skill and abilities of people like you and myself and everybody else. Like we don't have to run campaign like a substandard campaign. We can run a full-on campaign with the resources that we have already and the friends and allies that we have here to challenge each and every one of these Republican districts to speak to the issues. Tell us why we should be contemplating defunding public safety in the schools because the governor wants to have $250,000 a year secretaries of everything. You tell us, Senator Durnall, why it is that you voted that way, why it is that you continue to bow down to all the things that the Republican Party says, and you're not properly listening to your constituents. You want to talk about a gerrymandered district? It sits in a gerrymandered district. There is I mean, it is. We should change it to his namesake, because that was, of course, Congressman Mervan's district, represented a diverse portion of our area, including Hammond. They cut it all out. They cut out most of the areas that are Democratic areas, and made his spot the way it is. And he barely won the district, so now he's got to try and reclaim it, and we have to stop it.
So it sounds like his district is basically like one of those snowflakes that you would make when you were a kid, where you fold the paper all together and tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, something like that for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about what kind of positions are going to be on the ballot, because not all elected positions are for, say, like the Senate or House positions or governor. And like when you get into the voting booth and you see 6 pages of names for things like precinct committeeman, Munster District 1, or Lake County Water Reclamation District Supervisor, those are all public service roles that require an election to fill.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and you showed your Illinois roots there, or some other state's roots, by talking reclamation district. But while we do have township offices on the ballot, so every person in Lake County is going to elect at least a township trustee and 3 township advisory board members. Whether you're on the Kankakee River or on Lake Michigan, you have a township and you have representatives. Now, it is the case that in North Township, Hammond, East Chicago, Whiting, Munster, Highland are represented entirely by Democrats. It's the case in Calumet Township, Gary, are represented entirely by Democrats. But when you get down to Eagle Creek Township and Winfield Township and the others, why not you? Why not whoever's watching this? You're sitting in your living room or wherever. Contemplate being a candidate yourself. The thing I run into a lot is people will say, like, "Oh, recruiting candidates, recruiting." I'm like, I don't really think it's recruiting. I've talked to good friends of mine who are super intelligent and have successful jobs, and they look at me and they say, "Well, how do you do it?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's not that hard. I'll teach you." And so that's what I'm telling people right now. Everybody that's watching, it's not that hard. I'll teach you. If you have the desire to serve your community, serving it as an elected official is a very rewarding and an exceptional opportunity. And even if you can't do it, if you are unsuccessful, there is a bonus for trying, because you're helping the cause. And you're helping move the needle in a super red state. You're helping them move the needle more blue, and you're helping to make a little bit bluer by the lake, right?
Did you guys see what he did there? So, all right, a lot of these positions that are going to be on the 2026 ballot are the literal grassroots level, as low as you can get, precinct committeeman and on up. Why is it so important to fill those seats with Democrats?
So there are at the very grassroots, there are party elections in Lake County this year, which are the precinct committee people and delegates to our state convention. Those are incredibly important, so that party leadership, myself included, all the way up to the state party and the DNC, has a sense of the real population, the real literally grassroots folks. And in order for you to have a voice and a vote at the convention or on a reorganization or to bring in more DNC members or anything else, you need to be an official member, I shouldn't quote it, an official member of the Democratic Party. And the way you become an official member of the Democratic Party is by putting your name on a ballot and getting elected to it. And that's just the way it is. And so I encourage people to do that for sure. If here's like the little test. People are like, well, there's certainly great precinct committee people all over Lake County currently, and some of them have served for decades, and they've done a great job. If you know who your committee person is, then talk to them, ask them where you can help out, what you can do to be a part of the organization. If you don't know who your precinct committee person is, it's not your fault. It's probably your precinct committee person's fault. So make something happen. Don't be afraid to ruffle feathers, especially if they're feathers that are not looking to help you out. So we're all
Yeah.
in this together, and I want to help grow the party, and we're not going to grow the party by without a little bit of elbow bumping or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's sort of to it.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for a bit of a change. And I know after the last couple of election cycles, we saw, even if we're talking just beyond the party elections, we saw the difference it made to have even the most low level elected official can make a major impact in a national election and the
Sure,
course of our nation, which is
sure.
is exciting. So let's all right. So let's try something here. Let's pretend I'm planning to run for office. I'm interested, but I've got all kinds of questions in my mind that are keeping me from making that leap. Um, so we'll just go through all that.
Yeah.
So here's the first one. Like, how do I know if I am right for the job? How do I have to have, like, say, a master's degree in civics? What kind of person should be running for office?
So there are no prerequisites in terms of education for most offices. If you are running for judge, if you are running for prosecutor, you need to be an attorney.
Mhm.
Those two are the case. Beyond that, there are no others except for one is an assessor. And even in the assessor's role, you need to have a certification to run for reelection. You don't need to have a certification to run to be the assessor. So you have to get, um, you know, those are like hard, uh, factual things that you need to be. Beyond that, you need to care about your community. You need to be of the people and somewhat of a people person. Although I know plenty of people who are kind of introverted, but they still want to serve, and that's okay too. There's all sorts of different ways. I mean, what makes you a good member of your community will probably make you a good elected official. There are things that you will learn as you become in either in the political world or in the government world, um, that are maybe unique skills that you don't have, by running your little league board or whatever, but they're easily learned for somebody that's already doing those things. If you're already organizing, if you're already participating in public events, if you are in the garden club, or you are in the car club, or if you are any of those social organizations, are a very simple um, step away from being in an elected office, because those relationships are what builds your base. Those relationships are what builds your
Hmm.
network. You take those networks and you apply them to the political network. I've seen instances where all that applies.
That's interesting. I didn't like. So basically, your network is the friend network that you've built living your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's different for everybody. I've seen in my lifetime, I've seen folks intentionally go through particular organizations like Crime Watch. All right, we're going to focus on Crime Watch, the lead up to this election, so that we are
Hmm.
going to be the Crime Watch people. And then boom, when election comes around, I'm going to be a candidate, and then it's like, oh, that's the person I met from Crime Watch. Oh, that's the person that's always at Crime Watch. That's the person that, same thing, like the running club or the whatever, like realtors. I'm a realtor also. So, like, that network is a network. Obviously, organized labor is a network. And that's one of the things I want to encourage more folks from that are participants in organized labor, especially leadership in organized labor, to be candidates. Like, the as it sits, the dues paying members have a big stake and a big contribution to politics generally. Like, why not be a leader, be an individual who's, I'm a fill in the blank laborer, operating engineer, iron worker. I'm gonna miss, somebody is gonna hate me for not mentioning them, but like, auto workers, any of those folks can be, it's a perfect segue into elected office. So really anybody can, and if you're successful in any of those other social circles, you could be successful in political circles as well.
So, alrighty. That's encouraging. I can think of a million wonderful people who have all of the qualifications that you just mentioned. But here's one a lot of those people are, ordinary, hardworking people. And so this is probably was supposed to be my first question, and I'm guessing it's probably everyone's. So, how much does it cost?
Yeah. So, I kind of brought up the volunteers and the network that we already have. Like think of, like, all right, Tracy, you have a network of people that I don't know, and maybe through one of those organizations that's apolitical, right? Like, okay, we are, literally a sewing circle, and we do good work, and we don't talk politics, yada yada yada. That's one network. But you and I are a member of a network of political minded people who care very deeply about the state of our community, the state of our state, the state of our nation, and will do things on your behalf as a candidate Tracy. We will come together, and you will be able to take advantage for free of some amazing expertise. It's out there. It's here. Which will defray the cost, right? So if you can get high level communications people who are doing that as a full time job, but for you, they are going to give you advice for free. Well, that's like priceless. I mean, you can't buy that. It reminds me very much. I'm an avid Shark Tank watcher. When you get a shark to invest in your company, you get the money, yeah, but you also get that expertise. So what you really want to search for is expertise, and some of those skills also go back. The treasurer to the little league is probably going to be a good treasurer for your committee. The person that does the website for your garden club is probably pretty good at doing websites and probably do it for your campaign. So, but then you get to the money. The reality is it's zero. It doesn't cost you anything to put your name on a ballot, fill out the paperwork. There is no cost. There's not a filing fee or anything. It's nothing. Obviously, if you want to be the higher, the more successful you want to be, it may cost you to produce, paper handouts or signs for the yard, or having direct mail, or doing all those things. But I would strongly encourage people to fake it till they make it. And there's a heck of a lot of things that you can do for free, and there's a heck of a lot of traction you can get for free. And that is what's going to lead you and lead potential donors to say, oh, wow, look at how good she's doing. I want to help it. It's incredibly difficult to get the early money. You're going to get it from friends and family, or you're going to borrow it yourself, or borrow it from yourself to your committee. But once you get traction, once you start moving, money comes. It's quite an amazing thing, and there's budgeting and all the other things that go into a campaign that you just contemplate and say, well, I don't have enough money to do that, but I do have enough money to do this, so I'm going to do this. I've seen campaigns where they're mid low to mid six figures of spending on state rep races that are for 30,000 votes, and it's amazing in a lot of ways. It's amazing that they're raising it. It's amazing they spend it, but they also spend differently when they have that level of money. You know what I mean? But it's not a precursor. It's not because, because they have that much, um, I have to have that much. That's not the case. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity to get free media. There's plenty of opportunity to get earned media, as you would know, and you can do that. So there should money should not be a barrier to your entry to this position, I would argue.
So now, so the idea of fundraising, though, can be kind of intimidating if it's something you've never really done before.
Sure.
Will the party help me with that? Are there resources for that?
So in the November election, assuming you either win or run unopposed in the primary, yes, there are resources that the county, state, and federal, or county, state, and the Democratic National Committee help on dollars. I wouldn't recommend going into this endeavor thinking that they're going to come save me, because people are often disappointed. You should think of that as the icing on the cake, not as the cake. So you got to make the cake, and you got to have the right ratio of all the ingredients to make the cake first, and then if you want to throw some decorations on top, then you're going to get that from um, your donors.
But in terms of resources, I meant not necessarily cash that they give me, but assistance knowing how to fundraise or helping to fundraise maybe on my behalf. Like,
Oh,
is that
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry that the mechanisms by which you can raise funds are available, and the party, myself included, can help you learn how those work. Act Blue is one that most of us have used in some way or another, either by donating through Act Blue or receiving donations as a party or as a campaign. I've done both, and it's a great resource. And they also encourage. They're a Democratic focused fundraising. I think they're a fundraising nonprofit. I don't know what their status is exactly, but the company that it helps out immensely. And then there's a ton of training that are free and available to people. There are resources, including voter databases that are accessible to Democratic candidates, and all to help you, get have a successful outcome.
well, that sounds doable. That's good to know. But all right. So here's the other one that kind of jumps out at me. Elections, especially these last few cycles, they can get really ugly.
Mm.
And like I'm a nice person, and I don't know that. Am I gonna have to stand on a debate stage and let people scream at me? Is that how it's gonna be?
So I think there have been, certainly, depending on the office, there are debates and forums that exist, um, but they're not as prevalent as maybe in the new, that you see on the news. Uh, I don't know, as I'm sitting here, if I've ever been on a debate stage for my office of county commissioner.
Hmm.
Um, we've had candidate forums, which are heavily moderated, and usually by a media outlet of sorts, that will, kind of maybe do a little asking questions back and forth. But it's not like people are, um, you're getting up in front of a crowd of people that are half against you and half for you. Um, you could, if you chose to be that person, but you can also choose not to be that person. If that's not your game, where you don't want to go that route, um you don't have to go that route. There's, I would say, there's a playbook, but it's got many. It's almost like a pick, choose your ending book, where if you want to go this way, you can go this way. You can do any number of things. You don't have to. Some people are like, well, you got to have yard signs, and like, no, there's nothing that says you have to. Well, we got to have billboards. Like, no, really, you don't have to have billboards. You got to do social media. Well, like, you don't have to. I mean, it all depends on the district. It depends on a lot of things. Depends on your name ID already. You may have a uh, popular name already where you don't need to get your name recognition out there. You may be very good with the data, which will allow you, if you're really can hone in on the data, then you can pick and choose, literally pick and choose where you need to go and who you need to talk to, and use a lot of shoe leather. There's nothing that beats one-on-one conversations with voters. Really, I haven't heard one person that said that that's not the best thing. The problem with that is time, but some people have more time than money, and if you can use your time wisely and get at those doors and talk to those people, you'd be surprised how quickly you can turn the tide in your direction. So I guess more than anything, this is meant. I want to encourage more people to do it because it's not that hard. This is not rocket science. Um,
Yeah.
it is something that very attainable, very doable. Lake County Democratic Party is standing here to help you, not standing in your way. Um, whatever you need from us, we're available to help. So.
It seems like it's a lot simpler process than I would have imagined, and much more achievable for an ordinary person to do. So all right, let's say I won. Yay! We'll put the clap in there too.
Okay.
Um, so will I have to quit my job? Um, if not, how much time will I be like say spending every week serving in my political role?
So it very much depends on the particular office. The answer to the quit your job part is no. You won't have to quit your job. There is a good reason why state legislators have particular types of jobs. There's a lot of attorneys. There's a lot of small business owners. There used to be a lot of bankers, but I don't think there's a lot of bankers anyway in the world. But um, because they have the opportunity to kind of change their schedule a little bit. So when you go down to the state house, especially from the region, you're going to go you're not most people don't drive back and forth every day for session. Most times they'll go in on Monday and leave on a Thursday night. So they'll stay those nights down at the state house while they're in session, and therefore they'll have to have a job that you know um, can accommodate that, or take a leave, or something of that nature. It's not a terrible salary for the position, but it wouldn't be. It depends on everybody. Everybody's different. So salary is there, and can be shown to people. But if you go locally, go back to the town council. Town council, there's nothing. There's no requirement of a there's not such a large time commitment. Same thing with the advisory board and trustee positions. There's not that time commitment. So if you're contemplating that, then maybe that, if that's a concern, then you should look at the office that you want to hold. State rep, state senate may not be for you because you do have a time commitment, and depending on what you're making currently with your current job, maybe you can't swing it. It's not the right deal for you. But there's county council, there's town and city council. Oh well, this coming up 26. There's a few town council. There are advisory board and township races and township trustees, as well as some assessors that are up on the ballot as well.
So there's plenty of ways for you to serve in an elected office locally, um, that doesn't necessarily disrupt your life.
For sure.
Now, and you hopped into one of my next question, which is, will I get paid? Are most of even these local positions, do most of them have some sort of compensation involved?
Yes, everything except for, we talked about earlier, the precinct committee people
Yeah.
and the
Eh.
delegates. Those are not paid, but everything else has some level of compensation, and it varies quite a bit. What I would recommend people do, if they don't want to call me, that's fine, or send me an email or whatever. You could go to the Lake County website for elections, Lake County elections website. Go 4 years ago, 2022, and go to the results. And when you go to the results, especially for November, then you'll see everybody that ran in 2022, and those offices, by and large, are going to be on the ballot. There's only a couple.
Hmm.
U.S. Senate is not on that one, is not on the ballot because it's a 6-year term, and there in 2022 there was a circuit court judge on the ballot, but that one's not on again because that's a 6-year term. But by and large, if you go to 2022 and you look at the results page, you can see what's available, you know what was what was contested, what was not contested, what margin they won by or lost by, and then you could go from there and kind of back into like, oh, okay, I want to be here, and I want to, this is in my community, this is not in my community. School board races are also in there. I didn't really touch on those. The Republican Party wants to make those partisan. They've always been non. We have we're going to fight them if we, if people want to run as Democrats, we're going to support them as Democrats. If they want to run as independents, we'll figure out a way. But I'm not really sure how that's going to go down. But my main focus has been on the township races, especially in the South area. There's 11 townships. Of them, only 3 or 4 are Democratic townships. So when you talk about, like um, Center and Eagle and St. John Township, those are all currently held by Republicans. And my goodness, we would love to have a couple of those come to our side, right? The town of Dyers Town Council, Cedar Lake Town Council, Lowell Town Council, Cherville Town Council, St. John Town Council, Winfield Town Council. Those are all races that are up in 2026, and some of them are incumbents. I'd be remiss if I did not mention Tom Schmidt, who's running for reelection. I think of all those races that I just mentioned, I'm not sure if there's any others that are currently held by Democrats, but you can take a look. Take a look at what you got and where you live, and do some homework, and feel free, by all means, shoot the Democratic Party a text, info@indianademocrats.com, and we can help you.
So I'm going to be posting links to all of this, folks, including that election lookup that Mike just mentioned, and ways to reach out to him with questions. So, but I do have one more question or two for you, Mike.
Oh,
So
yes.
one of the things that gives me a little pause, I'm, a mother to kids, I have a family. And we've seen some pretty ugly things happen in the last few election cycles to minor state officials when they get caught up in national political headwinds. I don't want to endanger my family or, have to go into hiding because I'm, say, supervising streets and sanitation contracts, and someone like Trump says, you're a spy. So is it safe for me, ordinary human being, to serve in political office?
Well, I think, notwithstanding what you just said, which is absolutely paramount. I mean, your own safety and the safety of your family is first and foremost, no doubt about it. I mean, like there's no doubt that that's the most important thing. But the truth is, this level of service needs to be done, and it needs to be done by high quality people. And if you're that high quality person, then you kind of owe it to your community, I think, to be a candidate at some point. Notwithstanding, you don't want to sacrifice any of your own your own safety. But if not you, who? And we really need folks to step up. And if we continue to not step up, then the future is the future. We can see it. I mean, we can see it doesn't take too much to give you an idea of what might happen. uh, what's going on in Texas, what's going on in Indiana. What do you think is going to happen if we have 2 more years of this? It's not going to go. It's not going away. It's not going to be better. And so the way you fight is to run. I mean, the way you fight is to organize, and the way you fight is to vote, and the way you fight is to fight back. Protect all the things that you love, including your rights, and including the rights of your next door neighbor and the neighbor over there, and including the rights of the weirdos that wear the red hats too. I want to protect their rights too. They have a right. But their rights stop where my rights begin and your rights begin. And so I think the rule of law is something that, you know, somehow is no longer something that they talk about anymore. The Constitution is not as, they used to thump the Constitution like they would, put it in your face. Not now, where is it? The Constitution is out the window as far as they're concerned. So we need people like us to run on the ballot, to be on the ballot, and maybe to make sacrifices, maybe to make financial sacrifices, maybe to make some social sacrifices, maybe to make sacrifices with terms of your family. But the country needs you, the area needs you, the Democratic Party certainly needs you, and I'm here to help if I can.
So that is it for my questions. And I love the way you put that. Now is the time for good people to step up. If not now, when? And if not us, who?
Right.
Before there's nothing left to protect. So have I missed anything in the questions that I've asked you as a candidate in waiting? Is there anything else that you would want somebody like me to know?
I guess I would like people to take away and remember that it's not that hard. It's just not that hard. It's not as hard as people think. It's not as hard as people will tell you. Most people that give you advice on this have never done it before. I mean, most people, as you're, talking about this possibility to your friends and family, they're going to say whatever they're going to say, but they've never done it. They've never done it. I've done it. I can tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And even the ones that have done it, sometimes they're telling you something for their own interest, not for yours. Oh no, it's tough. It's tough in here. It's tough. I remember I used to go to this restaurant regularly as a kid, and the owner was always like, "Oh, it's business is bad. Business is bad." I'm like, how could it be bad? You've been in business for 15 years. But the reality is he just didn't want any competition. Like, "Ooh, don't get in this business. This is tough. This is tough." And they say that in politics too. The elected official, like, "Oh, I don't know. Why do you want to put your family through that?" It is tough. I'm not saying it's not tough. I'm not saying there's not days when I'd rather not be in the job, but it's got value. It's got more upside than down, and it's got a lot of there's a lot of rewarding aspects to it, and it's definitely not hard. This is not hard to do. You can do it. So,
all righty. Well, folks, Mike, thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us tonight.
well,
I'm going to be posting links to all of the resources Mike mentioned, including ways to reach him, resources that people considering candidacy should investigate. But if you happen to be the kind of person that's like, dude, I don't want to look through any PDFs, I'm not down with that, Mike has very graciously agreed to host a Q&A where you can come and ask him any questions you want. We have not set a date for that yet. I'm going to be there too, just for fun. And it'll be at the Greenwich and Highland. As soon as we have those dates up, we'll let you know. And the best way that you can find out when those dates are going to be is to subscribe to the Lake County Democrats new e-newsletter, check their website, check their socials. You can also subscribe to this podcast, blueorbythelake.substack.com, and I will be posting those dates up there as well. So, Mike, thank you so much. This has been so informative and helpful. That's it. Everybody else, I hope that you do all the things that Mike has suggested in terms of trying to get ahead of this redistricting problem And in the meantime, I'll see you at the lake. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, no.
No,
Now you're on your side again. It was hilarious.
I
Maybe I'll
wanted to
put
try
this
and
in
get
as an
it back
outtake.
to
Oh,
the.
there you're on your side again.
Am I really?
Stop it. There, don't go, don't move.
Okay.